Hello there, Algebra 2 students. This is Dr. John Schrage, and I am helping you to understand what's going on with regard to our second virtual day. Remember, we're using our second virtual day as a way of reviewing for the test that's going to be on Tuesday, on November 26th. And so there's a couple of materials that are available to you on Google Classroom, and I want to just walk you through it. The first thing I want you to do is study for the test. And the way I want you to study for the test is both to listen to this video and to also work with this review sheet that I'm giving you. Let's see, where did the review sheet go? I guess it's right here. Okay, so I have a copy of it right here too. You may or may not be able to see this yourself, what's the right word? You won't necessarily be able to see it on the video, but you can download it from Google Classroom, the same review sheet that's right there. And I have a number of the things that are key points on the test. You definitely have to be able to identify the domain and the range of exponential functions. If you have any problems with that, you let me know, okay? We've talked about that quite a few times. Similarly, you're going to have some problems that just involve finding the growth factor or the growth rate of an exponential function and being able to identify whether the exponential function is representing exponential growth or exponential decay. Again, I think we recently had a quiz with that and every single person got it right, so I'm pretty happy about that. There are definitely going to be problems on the test that involve like identifying a plot on Desmos. You'll see this when you take the practice test, that there'll be problems that involve like a transformed function. You know, here's the parent function. Which of these is the transformed function that has resulted from a vertical shift or a horizontal shift or whatever. There is a separate review sheet about all those transformed functions back under concept 2.2, by the way. We made that sheet one day to help you understand those. More than anything else, though, I mean, there's a handful of other things of making some simple plots. Most of those, though, look a lot like the ones that are on the practice test that you're going to be taking. And so I think you'll know better as to what you need to study and what you don't after you look at the practice test. Now, as far as the actual problems that are on the test that are like story problems and stuff, they kind of boil down to two main categories. There's these half-life problems and doubling time problems, and there's money problems. So just to help you understand what's going on here, let's see here. The half-life problems, remember, are the ones that use this sort of formula that has a 1/2 in it, where you have a certain amount, a half-life, like how many years that radioactive material lasts. And then you have, so X would be the amount of time that has passed divided by L, that is the half-life. You take 1/2 to that big power and you multiply it by the amount you started with, and you have your half-life. We could use the same sort of formula for doubling time, where like if D was how long it takes for the material to double, or the number of zombies to double, or the number of rabbits to double, or whatever, X being the amount of time that has passed, you take X over D, take 2 to that big power, and then start with however your initial number was, and you get the amount of zombies or rabbits or whatever right there. And remember, we also had a formula that was just a generalization of those things that was like, what if you had something arbitrary? Like in this problem here, you have 10,000 people, and they are increasing by 60% every 10 years. Okay, we can actually generalize that formula. It's not half, it's not doubling, it's 1 plus 0.6 for an increase of 60%. And then instead of a half-life or a doubling time, it's just how long it takes for that 60% to happen. So in this case, 10 years. We certainly have examples of all these kind of problems on your practice test. I also wanted to sort out the difference between the money problems that have compounded some number of times per year versus continuously compounded. Continuously compounded is your secret to let you know that it's always going to be a P equals ERT. I'm sorry, P equals, oh my gosh, I have the wrong equation here. It's not P equals RT. I'll have to fix that. It's the amount is equal to P times E to the RT. I'll have to fix that. But anyway, I'll fix it and you'll have it correct on your review sheet. And then that's in contrast to when you have an annual interest rate that you're getting compounded some number of times a year. So like maybe you're getting R equals 5% interest per year and it's being compounded 12 times a year, then N would be 12. And so you would have 1 plus that R over N, where that's the rate divided by how often you get it. And then it's all raised to the power N times T. All right, when you are doing this, once you have felt like you have studied, I want you to go and take the practice test. There's a practice test in here. The practice test is very similar in terms of difficulty and so on to the actual test. So you're going to go ahead and take this test right here. And let me just open it up in a separate window here. There we go, separate tab. But you have a practice test here to work on, okay? You will get a grade for the practice test. It obviously just counts as like a homework though. But doing the practice test will give you a chance to figure out what you're doing. But here's the deal. It is not set up to like give you feedback. It isn't like once you're done with the practice test, it'll tell you what problems you got right and which ones you got wrong. Take the practice test early so that you can write to me after you get it done, and I will send you feedback. I'll let you know what questions you got wrong and how to do them and things like that, okay? If you wait till Monday night at midnight to take it, I can't help you very much, okay? So maybe plan on taking this Saturday or something like that, okay? But anyway, if you get this test taken, I will gladly give you feedback as to what you did wrong or whatever, and I will help you with all of that. All right, I think that anything else I was talking about right now would mostly just be wasting your time. I'd rather you spend this virtual day studying for this test and taking this practice test. Again, the practice test and the actual test are very similar. They are exactly the same number of questions. And so if you can get this under control and know what you're doing with the practice test, you're going to be in good shape for the actual test. All right, I'm going to cut this a little bit short. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to fix that one problem on the review sheet.